You know, deep inside you, right this very second, there are literally trillions of microscopic machines working around the clock just to keep you alive. They're called proteins. And honestly, they are the unsung heroes of our entire existence. So today, let's meet some of them. We're going to focus on the incredible molecular chauffeurs that are responsible for one of life's most critical deliveries. I mean, really think about that for a second. You just took a breath, right? So how does that precious oxygen get from your lungs, through your entire body, all the way down to a cell in your big toe? Well, the journey it takes is way more clever and complex than you might think. Now, your first guess might be that oxygen just kind of dissolves into your blood and floats along for the ride. But here's the thing. It's actually terrible at that. Your blood is mostly water, and oxygen just doesn't dissolve well in it. If we had to rely on that alone, we'd basically be starving for air. So nature had to come up with a much better system. And that solution is all about something called reversible binding. The molecule that needs a ride, in our story, that's oxygen, is called a ligand. You can think of it like a VIP passenger. And every VIP passenger needs a chauffeur, right? Well, that chauffeur is a protein. And just look at the difference this makes. It is absolutely staggering. The amount of oxygen that can just dissolve in your blood is this tiny, tiny little sliver compared to the massive amount that can be carried by proteins. We're talking about the difference between a little dirt path and a 16-lane superhighway. So, yeah, evolution basically engineered this incredibly elegant and efficient solution, a dedicated delivery service. A whole fleet of these molecular chauffeurs, each one designed specifically to pick up and drop off oxygen. And here they are. Meet the fleet. These are your red blood cells. Every single one of them is like a tiny little cargo ship, and it's absolutely packed to the brim with millions of these specialized oxygen-carrying proteins. This is the system that makes your life possible, right here. Okay, so to really understand how this works, we need to zoom in, way, way in, down to the molecular level. We're going to use a protein called myoglobin as our case study. You find it mostly in muscle tissue, where its main job is to store oxygen and have it ready on demand. So this is what we're looking at. Myoglobin is a single, long chain made of 153 amino acids, and it's folded up into this really intricate, compact shape with 8 different spiral sections. It's just a masterpiece of molecular architecture, and it's all designed for one very specific purpose. But wait a minute, that brings up a really interesting puzzle. You see, none of the amino acids that actually make up the protein chain can bind to oxygen. So, if the protein itself can't grab the oxygen, how does this whole thing work? There's gotta be a secret ingredient, right? And you bet there is. The secret is something called a prosthetic group. Basically, it's a non-protein part that's locked onto the protein, and it is absolutely essential for it to do its job. Think of it like a special tool that the protein has to carry around to get the work done. And for myoglobin, that secret weapon, that special tool, is a really remarkable molecule called heme. This little guy is what gives myoglobin and its more famous cousin hemoglobin their oxygen-binding superpowers. And this is the heme group. I know, it looks pretty complex, but just think of it as the protein's specialized gripper. This is the exact part of the machine that physically reaches out and latches onto an oxygen molecule. Okay, so heme itself has 2 main parts. You've got this big organic structure, the protoporphyrin ring, which is kind of like a scaffold. And then, nestled right in the middle, is a single atom of iron. Now, this iron atom, this is the real star of the show. It's the bit that actually binds to oxygen. And here's a cool fact, that one little iron atom in every single heme group has a pretty famous side effect. It's the reason our blood is red. See, when oxygen binds to it, it changes the iron's electronic properties, which changes how it absorbs light. And that's what gives oxygen-rich blood that bright red color we all recognize. But hang on, this creates another problem. We all know what happens when you mix iron and oxygen, right? You get rust. In the body, that rusting is basically the iron getting permanently changed into a state that can't bind oxygen anymore. So how does the protein stop its most important part from becoming totally useless? And this is where the sheer genius of the protein's design just shines. The heme group isn't just floating around randomly. It's tucked away deep inside a protective pocket in the protein. This little pocket shields the iron atom from everything else, preventing it from rusting and making sure that the oxygen binding is perfectly reversible. It can grab on and it can let go. And that pocket does even more than just protect the iron. It creates a highly specific binding site. The site is perfectly complementary to an oxygen molecule. The right size, the right shape, the right chemistry. It is literally tailored for this one job. And believe me, this specificity is a matter of life and death. Oxygen binds and releases exactly as we need it to. But another molecule, carbon monoxide, can also fit into that same spot. The big problem is that it binds over 200 times more tightly. So it gets in, but it absolutely refuses to leave, and it just completely blocks oxygen from getting a ride. That's exactly what makes it so deadly. So this whole intricate dance between structure and function, it's happening trillions of times every single second, just for this one type of protein. But myoglobin, that's just one of tens of thousands of different protein machines in your body. It really makes you stop and wonder, what other incredible jobs are they all doing for you right this very moment?